Hey guys, Dominic Ravine here at Redleaf Exotics. The moment you have all been waiting for. We're back with another tour video. I know I was going to do one around April, May, but we got so busy here and getting the plants healthy and out to customers is a priority. But we're back. Everything looks awesome for the dead of summer. So we're going to walk through and show you guys some of what you love. Nepenthes. We're going to go through this way. We'll start with some hybrids, because I showed you guys the Highland table last time, and we'll touch on it, but I'm going to get right into the hybrids here. Loichi Afipiata is doing awesome this time of year. Oh, and there's a little bug. Oops. Those little centipedes are everywhere in here, and the plants love eating them. A nice Exotica plants creation. I love the flared peristome. It's beautiful. Gets nice dark color. And everything in the greenhouse is so much more dialed in and acclimated compared to our last year. There's a lot more plants, a lot more sphagnum, and the atmosphere is just humid and steady and moist, and everybody's happy. Here's one female that I'm so excited to breed with. Again, I made some beautiful crosses. This is the Loichi Vici Bashiana, Vici Maxima, Vici. One of 3 females we have in the greenhouse. And I'll actually show you guys a hybrid with this and one of the plants down here soon. Exotica's beautiful Spectabilis Vici. Did a lot of breeding with this. It blooms a lot for me. Love that. Love the color on these. Here is another female Loichi Vici Bashiana, Vici Maxima, Vici, the sister to the one I just showed you. This one is also female, and it's going to come into bloom, and I have some really exciting things planned for it. Vci Candy Dreams is also coming into bloom, so I hope to put that on here. Should be ridiculous. Coming down, we have this plant here. I had to move this here. It was actually getting too bright of light. This is Loichi Afipiata from Exotica. Extremely rare. I think we're the only ones that have it outside of EP. Look at the beautiful pictures. A lot of lid bristles. And I can't wait to see the upper pictures on this. So nice. Just some little in-house creations. This one there weren't many of, but it's a Loichi Vici Bashiana cross Rocco Exotica Bashiana Rocco Fusca Spectabilis Trismatiensis. Look at the teeth on this little thing already. Those complex Trismatiensis hybrids really show a lot more teeth than the primaries, so I'm excited to see where this goes, and it has some beautiful leaf jumps. It's not even 2 years old, so that'll be looking good. And then one of the little hybrids that I made here, look at the color on this thing at a small size. The entire plant is so colorful, red leaves, and it's already nice to see the changes happening. This was one of the smaller pictures, and now that's one of the older ones. And the parents of this are the LVB VMV I just showed you, and this Malus Vici. So I'm already seeing that super contrasty, almost whitish peristome in the other one. This opens super bright, light colored, and it has those dark stripes, but then it bronzes up. A beautiful father parent, and it's actually blooming again, so I'm going to make some more good stuff with it. So far I'm loving the way the hybrids are turning out with it. This beautiful red coloration is amazing, and it's from a peltata. This one here is from Jeremiah Harris. It's his Leviathan, or Leviathan. He named it after his brother, and it's already starting to get some really nice pictures, and I love that Raja peristome. It's also got the peltate leaves. Both parents are peltate, have the peltate leaves. So really nice mixture, really nice cross. It doesn't really like water on the leaves, you could see here, so I did try to hide it under some of this foliage so it wasn't getting so much moisture. In front of it is a newer arrival. This is Truncata Giant Edwardiana from Exotica. Super looking forward to these. They already look like a small Edwardiana. So really exciting. Here is a peristome with a mouthful, and the name is a mouthful. This one is Rocco Exotica Bashiana Vici, cross Loichi Vici Bashiana Maxima Mira. Love this Grex. It's very comparable in consistency with the LVB VMV as far as how dramatic the traits are. Little ants going in there for supper or lunch. Beautiful, love that. Here is another epic new arrival. This is Loichi Edwardiana. Really toothy at a small size too. Edwardiana is going to be a new lean on Trasmadiensis. So far much toothier in its hybrids than TM. We've got a lot of other things here. Here's a beautiful Loichi mixta. Look at the color on this. And a lot of lid hairs. Wow. We're gonna come up to the sky for a minute. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys this. This is Spectabilis Truncata Bashiana. Look at the new upper on this plant. Looks like it's gonna bloom soon too, so I'd love to get these traits into breeding. It's magnificent. I've wanted this plant for probably 10 plus years and just recently got it 2 years ago from EP. Beautiful pictures on that. A little Vici looking plant over here. This one's Rocco Exotica Bashiana Vici Highland cross Vici M. Very Vici-like. This one is pretty slow growing compared to the other ones I've seen and let go through the greenhouse, but should be beautiful when it's mature. This is some leftover wire that I had, and I just wanted to use it instead of throwing it out, so I filled it with sphagnum, put a Vici on top, and it's been in here for a while. It loves it, and hopefully that moss will fill all the wire out as it is doing. It's looking really good. On this side of the greenhouse, we have a lot of seedlings. There's some Helium-4 divisions I've done over here, some sundews, but all of these were just divided, so they're just settling in. We've got some Highlanders up here. We have some nice Gabunensis pictures. Look at those. Usually carry a couple pictures at a time. I'm really impressed with a lot of the Highland plants this summer. They're not flinching, just a little slower, but last year everything definitely didn't like summer, but like I said, the greenhouse is more full. Here's a Bashiana. Loving that stripy peristome. You got a lot of Vici in here, Vici everywhere. Loving all these. Look at these. This is a newer one down here from Christian Klein. It's the Barrio Cross Yamada Squat Striped. Look at the color on this thing. Really looking forward to it upon maturity. I planted it in some Akadama here, just trying that out. So hopefully they'll grow really nice in that. I'm not sure we had this last time I did a tour video, but this is the Jeff Wong Vici, which is one of the rarest and most spectacular forms of Vici in cultivation. Jeff Wong was an amazing grower. He grew a lot of things in bonsai dishes and displayed them just so beautifully. He will always be remembered for the beauty he's brought to the Nepenthes world. Just some more various Vici's. This is the Vici table, so it's all Vici. Here's a beautiful Helium-4 McDonalday. Loving the pictures on that. That's my favorite Helium-4. Beautiful color. There's an orchid up here also that is looking so nice. This is Phalaenopsis by Alesia. Beautiful. Love the flowers on that. It is more of a lowlander, and you could see the black spotting was from when it was cooler. It should be in the lowland, but I just love it in here so much that I'm like, you'll get through winter fine. And it did. It's blooming, it's beautiful, looks good. Here is the amazing and always beautiful Candy Dreams. This picture here is already quite aged, but it still has some pretty good color for how warm it is with the sunlight and stuff. The greenhouse is staying around 80, 83, sometimes 85 on the hottest of days, but there's a nice cool breeze. The evaporative wet wall is always on and running. The fan is going 24/7, and the mist comes on every 5 minutes for 1 minute, and that has been cooling everything so beautifully this year and not keeping the leaves or the plants too wet, which is a perfect balance. It's hard to see, but Vci Candy Dreams is blooming back here. It has a nice bump in the stem, so we'll be making some nice hybrids with that. Made a few the first year it bloomed, but this year I have a lot more things in the works. There's some females that are further behind this, so hopefully we can make some really nice Vci crosses. Here is the female. Love her. Also have a lot of hybrids growing on with this. And she might also flower. I can't really tell. Candy Dreams is for sure, but she's a little iffy, still vining around. Let's see. Macrophylla has this big palm tree growth, but a really nice basil growth. I'm probably going to chop this off and root it, but it will be back when it's fall. They definitely like the cooler temperatures. Here's another beautiful Vici. Here's another Truncata giant Edwardiana. This one is also in Akadama. I'm just trying to spread them around the greenhouse and see where they do best. Another thing that's really exciting are some of the seedlings here. These are Vci Candy Dreams with the female I showed you behind me, and these are looking awesome. Look at the stripes at a small size. Pure Barrio juice. This one is my favorite so far. And Candy Dreams gets the red speckling, and most colorful Vci will get that red speckling, the Barrio type. So this is a sign to me that this one here is going to be just stunning when it gets mature. Vci get a lot more stripes and color if they are, once they're mature, but really good blushing and everything, so I'm looking forward to these. This is a nice Highland Orchid that's doing beautiful. It was very slow to start, but this is Dendrobium cuthbertsonii from New Guinea, and it is really taken off. Love the charming little colorful flowers on it. I was curious how it was going to do with the warmer temperatures, but it loves it. Back here we got a Begonias. This one's a female. I also bred this with that Mollis Vci, so I'm curious to see how the contrast comes out in the pictures. Beautiful hybrid. I'm so excited for this. The color on this is amazing. This is Truncata Afipiata Maxima Stenophila Lohi Rocco Vci. I don't know how I hold all those names, but I do. Beautiful. At nighttime, a lot of people ask us questions about what grow lights we're using. Use a lot of basic T5, which I actually absolutely love. Been using them a long time. We have some LEDs, and we have been using this new Mars Hydro. Mars Hydro is a really popular brand, especially amongst hemp growers. And this is a new system I've been using with great results, and Candy Dreams is actually putting on its flowers since using it. But This is 150 watts. Full spectrum. Their lights are designed to be as close to sunlight as possible, and of course plants love that. And the cool thing about this is it's dimmable. Let me turn this on. If I could reach back there. See how it can dim? Really cool. So far the growth under it's been awesome, and the light is so beautiful. Love these. I think this one here was $140, not bad, and I love the dimmable feature around the plant. So been using that just for a couple hours at night to give them a little extra light, and Candy Dreams, she's loving it. He is loving it. This one's Loichi Afipiata, a really popular must-have plant, but there's not many out there. Great color and a ton of lid hairs. Wow. This one is from Shinya Yamada. This is the Truncata Haryana. Really curious to see where this goes. It has some nice ribbing. I was hoping for a little more at this size. It actually reminds me of an Exotica hybrid, their Truncata Ventracosa Spatulata Loisaber. But we'll see how much that ribbing comes out as it matures. Here is a Raja cross Edwardiana from Jeremiah Harris. Starting to put on some nice size. I recently repotted this, and I put it in a mixture of pumice and coconut chips. So far it's loving it. You could see the light burn here in the leaves. It's a little sensitive to light, but this was in a shadier spot and I now moved it out, but now it will acclimate and get nice big leaves. Sometimes some of the neps are really sensitive to light and where you're moving them, so. But this will toughen up, and this new leaf is already a little better, but this one should be really nice. We got some little jambon pitchers down here. We got Eddie, some Hamadas. Beautiful toothy species. I let the Eddies stay a little more on the dry side, and I try to ignore them, and they do better than ever. I try not, when I was giving them a lot of attention and just fussing over them, they really didn't grow good, and now I'm just like, fend for yourself, and they've been growing better than ever. Here's another Hamada. Last year during this time, Hamada, all of its pitchers kind of did this, dried up, went away. But now the greenhouse is so full, the humidity is just hanging on really nice, and everybody's thriving. Here is a Nepenthes Haryana. Look at the peristome on that. Nice and toothy. Here's another Eddie back here. This one is from Exotica. It's a seed-grown plant. So pretty. Just gave it a repot, and hopefully it gets some nice big leaf jumps with the freshening of the soil. Have some nice mollis here, previously known as Hareliana. Really nice. Hoping these bloom soon. They're definitely blooming size. Have two different variants here. Beautiful. Here is Pulchra, or Pulchra. Doing really good. Nice leaf jumps for this time of year. More Hamadas scrambling down in the foliage. This one has smaller teeth and just a more purple peristome and pitcher body than the other one. This one is a female clone, and it basils a lot. Here's some intermediate uppers on Platykyla. This is Exotica's best male. And it bloomed and I cut it, and now it's just thrown out a basil and this whole new vine. So I expect these next couple uppers to be really magnificent. It really gives you a hint here, but this is nothing. Once this starts to get its larger uppers, like over here, it'll be super pretty. We got some Phalaenopsis down in here. Look at these little squat pitchers. They're so adorable. And there's another one over here. But they're looking really good. Here is Loichi. This one is from Mulu. And this plant is actually really fast growing. A lot of people think Loichi is really slow, and it can be, but I find that if you give them more intermediate conditions, a little more warmth, you get a little faster growth. I'd say 60 degrees at night is a lot better than 55 or those cooler temperatures. So a little warmer, and they tend to grow really fast. Really impressed with the growth rate on that one. We have Ime cuttings, a Trismatiensis over here. This one's a seed-grown EP plant. I have a larger one in the back of the greenhouse hiding. I try to spread them out and see how they do. Here's a beautiful and dirty-mouthed Ime. Oh, see, the ants build their nest under the nectar glands like this. See all them running? It's a home, and it's also food for the plant. This is a cool little cross. This is an Edwardiana mollis. Looking really toothy and awesome at a small size. Curious. Here's a beautiful Ime upper. Those wine glass uppers, so beautiful. And that's about it for the front. Let's get into the deeper realms of the greenhouse where we didn't get to go last time. Here is one of my favorites, and I've showed you guys so much. This is Trunkadavashiana. Look how huge this is. Huge, a lot of pictures. I just gave it a repot a few weeks back, and this new leaf is looking really good. Here's another massive one. This is Truncata Alba. It's not even open fully, but this plant is looking beautiful. I'm gonna see if I can put this out here. Sometimes I go around and adjust the picture so I could see them better. There, that's better. But that's gonna be huge. Some more big ones. This is Vici Ime. Look at the pictures on this thing. Huge. It's climbing like a Vici across the ground. That kind of walking, scrambling. We got some Vci Companiolata. Love the color. This plant here is producing some stunning pictures with great color. This is a rare hybrid from EP. It is their Platychilorraja cross Vici M. And the color on this is insane. It's so intense. Really nice, and I love the fuzzy Vici-like leaves. And it has a pendulous growth habit. Instead of vining upward, like a lot of Nepenthes do, this one is just scrambling and kind of going down toward the ground. Really nice growth habit. Nepenthes alata. This is Exotica's F clone. Love the smooth, beautiful pictures. That nice green interior. Some begonias. This is one of my favorite aroids in the greenhouse. This is an Antherium Warcanum. Look at this thing. I love it. It loves growing in the Highland greenhouse. I keep it pretty moist. I would say moist wet, actually. I do put a lot of sand in the mix so that it gets really sharp drainage, and just throw a pile of slow-release fertilizer on top, and it has really just been so rewarding and vigorous. I hope that I could get it a little bigger. It is pretty big, but these can get close to 4 feet tall, the leaves on this. So a little bit to go, but for being in this greenhouse for less than 2 years from this big, I think it's doing pretty well. Barrio Vici here plopped up in this tree stump. Some Lycopodium Squirosa growing with it. Did a lot of breeding with this one too. It might not have good, strong color, but it does have a really good shape. Nice squat pitchers. Another orchid. This is Profsetia vitellina, or Encyclia vitellina. Another Highland orchid. Love intense orange flowers. There are so many plants. Probably won't be able to see them all, but we'll get through what we can. Here is a Truncata Ogilii. Oh, trying to get this picture out of here. Beautiful traps. A nice mix of both parents, and I can't wait to see what the upper pitchers do on this, because Ogilii really gets some nice uppers on it. Another EP plant. There's a nice Ime Vici here. Nice tall, dark peristome. This is the reverse of the one I showed you up front, the Vici Ime. Also bred with this, and the little hybrids are looking so cute. Nice dark colors in them so far. Vici Gold, Berbigii Edwardiana, but I'm almost 100% certain it's Berbigii villosa. Going by the eddy crosses, you can see how dominant the teeth are, and the villosa really actually is recessed in its primary, so I definitely would say that villosa, it's Berbigii villosa. But beautiful plant, nice tooth, nice ribbing, and great color on that. Here's a colorful one, Loichi Afipiata. This is a prime breeding plant for EP. They make a lot of colorful hybrids with it. Just look at the intense color. This was a rooted cutting we just got not too long ago, and it's really starting to put out a lot of nice pictures. Here is Cantley Hamada. I'm sorry, this one's actually the reverse. It's Hamada Cantley. There weren't a lot of these out there, so I always get that name backward, but beautiful. Got a lot of cool stuff down here, like this Lingulata Truncata. Just got a repot. It was dying for one. Beautiful purple colors. Here's a nice Christian Klein hybrid that I'm loving for the size. This is Tentaculata Companiolata. I wish we had more of them. They would make a beautiful terrarium plant for how little they stay. But do have a Tentaculata in bloom, so hopefully we'll try to breed it with some smaller growing plants and create more little gems that can go in terrariums or smaller enclosures. This one is looking awesome. Loichi Bashiana Platykyla. Look at the wave and flare in that lip. I'm really excited to see what the uppers do on this. I'm sure they will be dramatic. We have Loichi Ventracosa Giant back here. Just took cuttings on this. It had 2 big stems. Left this nice one. I cannot get rid of all these uppers. I would cry. And it has a couple nice basal growths on it too. When we do cuttings on some of the plants like this one, we actually put them in the lowland greenhouse, and they seem to root a lot faster and quicker there. For a while I had a lot of the plants on the benches and in hanging pots, and then as the greenhouse fills, I start to pull things off the bench, get them hanging everywhere, and this really adds a lot of humidity and atmosphere when you start filling the airspace. But everything is just filling in so nice, and in the spring I expect this to really explode. I find that in spring and fall you get huge bursts of growth because you have those temperature drops at night, which the plants love, and I think by spring this will be really, really lush. So far, since our last video, it's really filled in a lot. Down here we have a nice squat vent sib cross flava. I would consider this one another plant that actually prefers cooler temperatures, and for this time of year, there's a moth in there, it's doing really good, holding all of its pitchers, getting a lot more. Usually, like I said, when it's a little warmer in the summer, some of these more highland plants do tend to slow down. Here is my favorite hybrid. This is Loichi Truncata Giant. This was one that I've mentioned before that actually took it really hard when we moved 2 years ago, and it's actually taken a long time to really start growing the way I know it grows, but it is really settled. It's producing some awesome pictures on it, and the next leaf is huge. But look at the color on this. I'm excited to see how Exotica's new Grex works out. They remade this, but the Truncata C they used this time is even bigger than the last Truncata C they used, so maybe we'll get another or even more giants in this newer batch. We did send quite a few of those out, so I can't wait to see how they grow up for people. So much to look forward to with Nepenthes and breeding. There's always something exciting. And this one here has got some cute pictures right now, but I wouldn't say it's its best, and that's because it's flowering. But this is another and the third Loichi Vici Bashiana, Vici Maxima, Vici. And if you've been following along, you know what the best pictures look like on this. A huge round peristome, but this one is a female and making so many beautiful hybrids on here. You could see they've already taken. Then the end of those stigmas are nice and brown. That usually means it has worked. So we'll wait a couple months and see what we get off of this. Just keep it a little bit of a secret as to what's on there, but a lot of good stuff. This one is Loichi Vici Ibashiana, Maxima Truncata Red. Love the color on this. I love purple and the reds in the Nepenthes. And this is starting to get some nice leaf jumps, so I'm curious to see how large this hybrid will get. Down here in the moss, we have a Lingulata Vici. I've been loving Exotica's Lingulata hybrids. The dark purple is just crazy. Here's another one. It's so beautiful. And you can see the lid appendage up there. If you tilt it a certain way, it has a beautiful copper fuzz to it. I just love that. Really looking forward to this maturing. Another Truncata Eddie just splashed in here. This one's starting to get some nice size. Truncata Loi Companiolata. There's just so many beautiful plants. Northiana Vci Afipiata. Everything looks awesome this time of year. Nepenthes everywhere! It's like sometimes I don't know where to look. Truncata Afipiata. Just repotted this and gave it a new spot in the greenhouse. As the cool air comes through the greenhouse, through the wet wall, the back of the greenhouse is naturally warmer, so I'm moving a lot of the Truncata hybrids and stuff a little more toward the back where it does stay warmer, and they do really seem to like that. Truncata and its hybrids do prefer to grow a little on the warmer side. This is awesome, Vci Companiolata. It's probably one of the darkest pictures in the greenhouse. This is one of EP's newer creations. It's Ventracosa Gabunensis Nagabongzo. Almost black. Love it. I've had this plant for a really long time. This one's Rawanya Impalari across Vici Highland. We tried to move a cutting of this in the lowland greenhouse to see how it would do, and they honestly don't get good color in lowland conditions. You put it in the highland and it starts to get this beautiful red color, and the basil that it has up here will really put on good color. This one's also a female, and it is blooming again soon, so it is the season for female. Usually mid-late summer, a lot of the females start going off, but they definitely bloom all year round, but mostly mid to late summer, a lot of them start popping out. This little colorful thing, it gets huge. This is a basal growth. This is Truncata Vici Maxima Spectabilis from EP. One of my favorite hybrids of all of them in the greenhouse. And discreetly tucked beside it is a new Nebularum Truncata. I believe Exotica will be releasing some of these in the fall. It's Nebularum Truncata Squat. So, curious to see how these turn up and out. Nebularum Truncata. This one's beautiful. Eustacia mollis cross Vici. Took cuttings on this a while back, and it's actually been very slow to come back around, but it's now growing some nice big leaves. That's the thing with Nepenthes. A lot of people just want them to grow, and sometimes you get plants that do well for a while and then they'll get slower, or you take cuttings and they have basils, and mostly they grow really nice, but sometimes they can switch it up and grow a little slower. That one did grow really fast in Brooklyn. Here's some huge pictures on Loichi Afipiata. I think she might bloom soon too. Yes, she is. So she makes some really cool hybrids with this. I'd love to get Truncata on here. Here's one of those Loichi Truncata giants sitting in a pot. And you can see this one is in that coconut. It breaks down way slower than a sphagnum, sphagnum moss, if at all. So really good, especially if you have wet conditions. It drains really nice. So been shifting a lot of the plants to that and experimenting with it. And so far, really good response. Sometimes I use pure coconut. Sometimes I use it with perlite. Sometimes I mix it with sphagnum. All kind of mixtures. Space the plants out and just see what does the best. There's a lot of color in here. There are so many plants on the bench. Some of my favorites. This is Vici cross Rocco mollis. Loving the color on it. It's really squat. Here's one of the newer ones, if I could get this out. Look at the pictures on this thing. Nobody makes hybrids like EP. The color, the shapes, they really have provided a dream for me. And a lot of growers. I just love seeing what they create, and a lot of us love seeing what's next. You can really see the intention put into their plants. I'm gonna try reaching back here. I don't know if I can get it, but this is new. I did not even see it yet, and oh my god, is this nice. Wow. It explains everything about EP. Big, crazy peristomes. This is another one of those Rocco Exotica Bashiana, Vici Loi, Vici Bashiana, Maxima Miras. This one's looking sick. If it's looking like this at a small size, when it gets bigger, I can't even imagine. A lot of colorful hybrids in here. This is another favorite that's looking awesome. This one is a Loichi Vici Bashiana, Vici Maxima, Vici Spectabilis Northiana. So this one was created by a friend, and wow, is this looking nice. We have a couple of these in the lowland with the LVB VMV, and it's just with Northiana, not Spectabilis Northiana, and those are looking really good too. That female parent, no matter which one it is, they're all making such awesome hybrids. Here is Exotica's Vci Sarawak Red, a really famous plant. A lot of collectors grow this one, and it just delivers every time with color in nice large pictures. You can see how many are on there. You can see a lot of the aeroids up and back. I put this huge tree stump in the greenhouse, and I'm just wanting a lot of things to climb and scramble up it. Got a nice Antherium Deceptions with its huge leaves. I'm gonna have to give that thing a repot. There's this one photo I love Googling of that plant, and it's so big, and there's this little person standing beside it. So I'm hoping to get leaves that big eventually. It is a really quick grower in the Highland greenhouse. Got some more Truncata Eddies here. This is a newer cross, Loichi Vici Red Vici. EPs are really making a lot of Vici stuff. Nice color and stripes. Beautiful. Another one of my favorites of favorites. This one is Loichi Truncata Spectabilis Northiana. This thing's insane looking. Got this one as a rooted cutting just last year, and it's starting to put on some nice size. I also moved this to the back of the Highland, and it's doing a lot better with the warmer temperatures. Got some orchids. This is a philodendron Melacrisinum. It's really growing up the pole nice. I struggled with that one. This is my second time trying it, and the second time was a charm. So I can't wait for it to just grow up, and it gets huge velvety leaves eventually. Got some Bilbergias in here. This one's called Darth Vader. Nice dark pitchers. Well, it's not really a pitcher, but it kind of is. It's like an urn. But these are not carnivorous. They're a bromeliad. And I love sprinkling these throughout the Nepenthes. They don't really like to be as wet, but I try to avoid them when I hand water. And they grow beautiful, and they look so cool. They really add a nice vibe to the carnivorous plant garden. Have a Nepenthes platykyla back here. It is in the warmer part of the greenhouse, and it is growing so much better than the cooler part. So platykyla is definitely more of an intermediate. It's starting to vine, and got this one as a 4-inch plant not even a year ago from EP, and it's just grown so fast. So I'm really looking forward to the uppers on this. It is a newer Grex between two of their really nice plants. So hopefully some really nice uppers on that one. And speaking of the word Grex, people ask me a lot, what is Grex? Grex is a set of specific parents. So if you had Loichi Truncata, red, that's one Grex. Another Grex would be Loichi Truncata Giant, Loichi Truncata Super Big, whatever. So a Grex is just a specific breeding set of parents. So you guys know, because you ask all the time what it is, and that's what it is. A fancier word for a hybrid, I guess. Love this. This one is a, oh god, this one's so long. Ventracosa Gabunensis, Ventracosa, Loichi Ventracosa, cross Truncata Squat. Wow. Huge pitchers. just started expanding. A lot of the seedlings were back here. Probably gonna make a seedling house soon. I'd rather have this all Nepenthes and moss, and then just get rid of, you can see a lot of the seed trays are back here. We've been shifting them around, and there's so many on the other side of the greenhouse that I'll show you, but definitely want to turn this into a full stock greenhouse and just have a separate section for the seedlings and do their own thing there, even as far as fertilizing and light. Here's some big pictures on Truncata Ogilii. Recently took cuttings of this clone. Huge. I'm really excited for this little pile of good treasure. This is Rocco Exotica Bashiana, and this is EP's best female that they use in breeding a lot of their Bashiana plants, and I'm excited to get into using this myself. I'm gonna put some more Vici and bigger peristome things on here, because what this breeding plant tends to do is add a lot of bulk in the peristome in its hybrids. You can see there's a lot of uppers on it right now. Still really attractive in the uppers, and they smell like sweet perfume. They smell so good. I have 2 really big plants here, and I love that they're getting 3 female flower spikes. I've been in a rush to breed these. They're all opening so fast, I don't want them to waste. Here's a nice colorful one. This one is Truncata Maxima Stenophila Loi Rocco Vici. Really nice. Here's one you've seen videos on, Plumpkin, I call it. This one's Ventracosa Sid Merliana. Love this. Here's the biggest picture it got, and this is a spring picture. And Nepenthes will do that a lot, especially in a greenhouse when the seasons change. They'll get their biggest pictures in the spring and fall when you have the nighttime differential and drop. So carrying on really nice for the summer and still getting some big traps, but I expect this to get more larger ones in the fall and then next spring. But really nice. I love this hybrid. I love this plant too. I love them all. Huge pictures on Truncata cross. This is Peltata cross Truncata. Look at how big this picture is. It's hard to capture the size of these on camera. Sometimes I look and I'm like, oh, that looks really little actually, but this is huge. And the leaves are really starting to catch up the pictures to the leaf size. And you can see, as I mentioned before with the Peltata hybrid up front, very sensitive to light and water on the leaves. So if you see this, that's what that is, no big deal. Usually this disappears once it gets cooler and the light isn't as intense. Nice Truncata Vici Highland. Here's another Truncata Vici. This is with Vici M. And wow, this looks like a big Vici, and it's still a baby of a plant. When this first opens, it's so striped and colorful, and then it bronzes up. Here are some huge jugs on Gabunensis Truncata. Really big pictures. These are pretty old too. These have been on here since near winter. Really, really big. And I expect another flush to come in the fall. Loichi Companiolata, a really popular and famous hybrid. Everybody loves that. Love Loichi Camp. They actually probably would prefer to be in the lowland greenhouse. The one in there grows like a weed. We have this hanging specimen of Rocco Exotica Bashiana Vici Saber Dark Cherry. Really dark pictures, and I love this flared toothy lip. Still not mature, and it's just gotten a huge flush of a lot of leaves, and all the pictures are starting to blow up. So I can't wait to see how large they get and what that peristome does as it matures even more. And just hiding and tucked amongst it, I'm going to take this out. is another Nebularum cross. This is Truncata Nebularum. The other one we saw was Nebularum Truncata. And look how nice this is looking so far. Nice and dark. And really curious to see how that matures. Jeff sent these as little teasers as to what's coming in the fall for us, so really looking forward to getting some of these out into the world. We have more gems hanging here. These are the Truncata Loi Saber. This one's so dark. And there's another one down here with more striping. They look like Loi Truncatas almost. But we'll see what they do when they get big. This one's kind of newer, hanging here. More darkness. This one is Carunculata Saber. It's the saber section. Nice teeth on this. Beautiful. All kind of little hybrids hanging here. This one I'm excited for. It's a Loi Vici Ibashiana cross Candy Dreams. Starting to get some nice leaf jumps. Good color. Already look very Vici in the leaves. My tongue is starting to get tired. All the name rambling. Beautiful plant here. Loi Vici Morelliana. Let me get this. Loi Morelliana Vici Maxima Vici. Beautiful. And this one's a female. Have some nice seedlings that I created with this growing on. So I'm hoping this darkness pulls through in its hybrids. Loving this. Vici Spathulata Jacquelineae. Look at this new picture. If I can get it out here. Look at that. Stays nice and flared. Exotica's always trying to get bigger, huger peristomes, and they're doing a really good job of that. Speaking of, look at this monster picture. This one is Loi Truncata, Ramaspina Truncata. Ramaspina ran out the back door. You cannot see her at all, but usually you see that with double Truncata hybrids. The double Truncata is actually very dominant, and Loi really came back to the front. This thing has lid bristles, so it's almost like a more unique Loi Truncata with that peristome shape. This is one of the other pictures on it. Love how it just stays kind of concave and flared. Wow, so many beautiful things. Here's a newer EP treasure, Loi Northiana Vici. EP inspires so much for the future of breeding. Really focused on a lot of large, colorful peristomes. Love teeth, but hopefully we'll add some of those in more later. Love big stripes, a lot of flare. Here's Truncata Enermis, like a giant Enermis almost. This one I believe is going to bloom, so interesting to see what we could put on there. It'd be awesome if this was a female and I put Tentaculata on here, because I love Truncata Tentaculata. And I think that the shape would be very complementary. Here is something that gives Loi a run for its money. This is Loi Truncata Trismatiensis. Really gnarly and warped in the peristome. And this one's actually due for a repot, but I haven't gotten around to it. There's so many things. Nepenthes are always, repotting is forever. This one's really starting to take off. Another recent acquisition from EP. It's a male. This is their Maxima Dark, Stenophylla Loi Rocovici. And these are just uppers. They get so colorful, and a prime breeding plant for EP. I love their hybrids they make with this. A lot of color. It really puts a lot of color in its hybrids. Over here is the female Loichi Ibashiana do a lot of breeding with. Cross this with that Vici I showed you earlier and some other things. And all of the offspring are producing some really colorful leaves and dark pictures so far. So really excited to see where the babies go with it. Down here is one we call Hydra, which is, oh my god, a tongue twister. Ventracosa Gabunensis, Ventracosa Trismatiensis, cross Loichi Vici Ibashiana Maxima Mira. It has a lot of sun damage. In the winter, spring, fall, it does so nice, and I always have to move it to a shadier location once it gets warmer, or it spots up like this. But these new leaves in the shadier light, you could see they're perfectly fine. And this one's blooming male. So I do plan on getting this beautiful thing on that LVB VMV I showed you up front. It would be, I can't even imagine what it would look like, but it would be ridiculous looking. Flare with this darkness and some of this texture in the peristome. Making hybrids is like making a painting and mixing all those colors together. Really looking forward to that. This is a Loichi Vici yellow Bashiana cross Loichi Vici red Bashiana. Loving the flared lip. Imagine this thing with platykylar Jacquelineae. Goals for the future. Loichi Bashiana. Nice Loichi-like pictures. There's so many plants. This one here is looking really nice. This is Oroco Exotica Bashiana Vici Loichi Truncata. A nice huge lip. Really nice. Swinging around down here. This is a newer Antherium Warcanum. This one is the dark, I'm gonna have to come this way, the dark narrow leaf form. And this is the first leaf in my care. I just got this a few months ago from Enid at Natural Selection Exotics. I love her. Enid, you give me life, and I love having your babies in the collection. They're so beautiful. And I'm hoping, I'm sure it will, with the way it's growing, it will get just as big as this over here and just kind of mirror. I love this walkway and how everything's looking. There's definitely a lot to look at in the collection. I can keep going. Tongue is tied. Gonna pause it here with the bigger plants before my tongue falls off. But I'll show you guys some of the back side of the greenhouse and some of the seedling work we're doing and some of the smaller hybrids that I'm so excited for. So let's check that out. On this side of the greenhouse, I love to grow a lot of the seedlings and smaller plants. They really like it over here. And that has been really interesting with the greenhouse, kind of filling it up, seeing where the light is. And some plants like their little microclimates, and I've just found in the past 2 years that the smaller plants and seedlings love it over here, so that's where I keep them. And there's just so many things to look at here, but I'll just touch on some. Don't even know where to start, but these are a lot of Christian Klein hybrids we have growing out in the sphagnum. Have another random Truncata Edwardiana in here. Just kind of have everybody spaced out, see where they grow best. There's another Loichi Edwardiana growing down here. Some peltatas in the back. They're like, hey, it's summer and I'm not that happy, but I'll still grow. They do have some nice, beautiful new growth going on them. Down here we have some really itty-bitty, little itty-bitty things. These are Loichi from Mount Matapuk, from Jeremiah Harris. It's a new location for Loichi, and these, from the pictures, get a more circular mouth than most Loichi I've seen. So hopefully that will carry through in the little babies, and they grow up with that nice round mouth. It's really awesome that he got to see this in the wild. There's a lot of things. There's more Vci. There's a ton of them in the back. Keeping some over here, and they seem to be growing really nice. Have a nice Truncata mollis. Look at that. It already looks like a little mollis. Nice striped peristome. This one I'm so excited for. It's so little, but this is Truncata ovata Vci Candy Dreams. This should be ridiculous. I mean, I really want ovata and Vci, a nice ovata and Vci bred together. And then to add Truncata in this could be insane. So hopefully that turns up crazy. Sometimes it's crazy when you only get like 3 or 4 of a seedling, or even 1. But this is Rocco Bashiana, Fusca Spectabilis TM, crossed with Truncata Squat. And this is looking so nice at a little size. And this is a hybrid there were only 3 of. Didn't get good germination on it, but already showing some really nice red color in these little pictures. And I'm really dying to see how that Trismatiensis comes through. Beautiful. Here's one of the larger Loi Vici Bashiana that I showed you over there, crossed with Ime Vici. Good stripes at a small size. They're loving this year. Everything's exploding. I've been breeding the female Vci M with the Loi Vici Bashiana, and you can see they look like little Vci leaves so far. And look at under this hood. Very striped. So a lot of really exciting stuff going on. I don't want to give away too many secrets over here. This is looking beautiful. It's a Loi Vici Bashiana, Vici Maxima, Vici Spectabilis, Vici that I showed you up front. Look at the nice pictures on this. Beautiful coloration in the leaves. A lot of Spectabilis Vici hybrids get the same color as it, like that beautiful red tint in the foliage. Never-ending seedlings. And then I'll show you guys some of the seeds in the back as well. Over here, there is a lot of really cool seedlings growing out that we created. I'll show you guys just like what Nepenthes look like when they're itty bitty babies. Look at them. And these ones, you could see it's in peat and perlite. I use a lot of different soils for them. Peat, perlite, pure sphagnum, sphagnum perlite, have really good results with everything. But sometimes I like to just switch it up and switch what I'm using. Sometimes it's what's most available. So mix it up, but overall haven't had any problems and everything's doing really awesome. I also have an obsession for a lot of other plants, especially aeroids, so much. Have some really rare ones here. Some Brugmansia, the red one. I would die if I can bloom Brugmansia sanguinea in this greenhouse. It's growing. I feel like this is from moisture on the leaves. It doesn't want the mist like the Nepenthes. It's kind of hidden under this giant alocasia. But hopefully when it gets cool in the fall... Wait, do I see a flower bud? I lied, but no. I always look at this and I'm like, get a flower, but maybe once it gets cooler it will. This plant comes from the highlands, and I actually visited Ecuador and saw these growing in the wild, and it was cold, rainy, needed like a jacket. It was hailing and just thriving with flowers, so we'll see what that does. This is a very rare aeroid. It is Pseudohydrasmi Gabunensis from Africa. And this is the leaves it gets. They're covered in spines. And it gets a huge yellow flower that almost looks like a calla lily with deep burgundy in the center. So I'm thinking that in a year or so, I will get to bloom this. I've had it for 2 now, and it's starting to get pretty big. So hopefully that will come into bloom next spring. Also love orchids. This one here is Paphiopedilum hookeri. Love that. We have some giant alocasias, Portadora. We have some tropical ericemas. I can't just do carnivorous plants. I love all plants, and I really have an obsession, like I said, for these really rare aroids that are mainly found over in Indonesia and South America. Got some Amorphophallus. When we do a lowland tour, I'll show you guys Titanum. It's starting to get pretty large. And I think we'll cap the video with this plant. This is like the Loii Truncata of the aroid world. This is Philodendron Spiritus Sancti. Huge, so rare. I originally got this one also from Enid at Natural Selection Exotics. I love this plant. There aren't many in cultivation, and I think I used to see these for sale for like $1,500. Now they're going for like $7,000. I'm glad I got mine when I did, but this is beautiful, and it's really starting to take off. And like I mentioned with Warcanum, a lot of sand in the soil, sharp drainage, really moist, and I do jack it up with that slow release fertilizer, and it's really happy. But there's just so much I could show you guys. We could go through plants all day long. Actually have to get some seedling work done, but I really hope this filled that craving. I know you guys have been waiting for such a long time for the second tour video, but this should be good. It should hold you over for a little bit. And the next video that we plan on doing will be a tour of the lowland greenhouse, which is looking so good. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Enjoy this video, like, comment, and share. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you soon.